Hey folks, this is a 1997 Ford Taurus GL wagon in all its Clinton era glory. There are a couple of interesting surprises on this vehicle, and forgive me, but this is my first time doing this on a first take, so we'll see how it goes. When I had looked at this vehicle online, they said that it had 235,000 miles on it, and it actually has 23,594 miles on it. In fact, it had right around 23570, somewhere around there when I first picked it up. This was actually owned by Georgia Tech, and they had it since new. It was built in South Atlanta, made a journey about 25 miles to Hardy Ford, which is in the northwest part of Atlanta, and then went 15 miles down south, where it stayed with Georgia Tech for over 19 years. And they did a fantastic job taking care of this vehicle. Keep in mind, this is what we call a fleet vehicle in this business. It is not used as a show horse. It's used more or less to haul things, sometimes people. And this one was used by the Department of Continuing Education. And there are a lot of things that you would wish would be on this type of vehicle that are not. For example, you get AM/FM, no cassette, no CD player. We are in the thick of 1997 fleet orders, and as a result of that, you also won't get anything that is cosmetically nice. For example, these wheel covers aren't exactly nice, but they did the job for what Ford intended to do for that period of time. Now, there are three surprises with this vehicle that are very, very unusual. The first is that apparently nobody sat in the back seat. It is as immaculate as you can imagine for something that is over 19 years old. And the second thing is that there's no paint fade on it. Here in Georgia, the sun scorches pretty much everything that's out there that isn't regularly washed and waxed. And even if you do that, within maybe about year 12, year 15, you're going to have sun fade. This doesn't have it at all. And the third surprise happened to me actually only about 15 minutes ago. And that was, I forgot about one critical weakness these vehicles had during that period of time. And that was their glue doesn't quite hold up when it comes to the rear deflector. So what ended up happening was that it blew into about 4 different pieces. Here we go. And yes, the hatch works perfectly fine. It's a neat little 1990s feature there. But thankfully, this is a place I do a lot of business with, and they're going to replace that for whatever is the actual cost on it. And so, you know, it'll be made whole again. Now, because it's a Georgia Tech vehicle, and because I have 2 of my brother-in-laws who went there, I'm not surprised by the overall condition. It's been exceptionally well maintained. There are extensive maintenance records on the Carfax that I use to actually help determine what vehicle I wanted to buy from the surplus auction. It wasn't advertised as Georgia Tech. It was advertised as Fulton County. So you actually have to go about figuring out who were the actual owners. If it's a city, well, in that case, this case, a county fleet vehicle, it may be a little bit beat up. But this one clearly isn't the case. This one actually is almost like a time warp. Now, there are good things and bad things with time warps. The first good thing that you're going to get is that there isn't really much that can break on them. You're going to have your power windows, you're going to have your power locks, you're going to have your power mirrors, and that's about it when it comes to power. And when you want to make the panel get lighter or not so light, you got this wonderful thing. When you start it up, you get your ding ding dings, and everything is surprisingly quiet on these things. Another thing that I liked about this particular one, here in Georgia we get a lot of sun fade on the top of steering wheels due to the heat. This one was apparently kept in an interior environment, and it's hard for me to actually fully provide you with how unblemished this interior is overall. I'll flip it over here. I apologize, folks. Here we go. The door panels are in excellent shape. Oftentimes as these vehicles get older, you'll find some looseness right around here. And this one actually has a little bit right over here. Barely any. Right there. You can probably even see a little bit, but it's not major. All the windows work on it. Blah, blah, blah. 1, 2, 3. And bend my neck 4. And another nice thing is this headliner has no droop or fade on it at all. However, for every beauty there's a beast. Let me introduce you to the beast. Ford decided to put the Vulcan V6 into what was probably about 5 million Tauruses from 1986 through 2007. And when we drive this thing down, it's very comfortable. You know, it's almost like riding on a cloud, but it's not exactly what I would call fast in any way, shape, or form. It's actually slow, almost molasses slow, almost Mercedes diesel slow, but not quite. There are little things that have to be done with this vehicle, such as the antenna. They decided never to replace that, so I would have to get something of that nature if I ended up selling it. And also, if you look over here, this is what we call transfer. This isn't actually big scratches and dents. This stuff can actually come out if you use some combination of paint thinner, things of that nature. If you're going to do this, my advice is to do more or less take the advice of a detailer. I would say about 95% of this is going to go off. You're still going to get a little bit of it left. And this, in my opinion, it's not faded yet, but it's on the periphery. So this is a type of vehicle that you get where you really have to spend a couple $100 reconditioning it and getting it right. However, there's a silver lining in all this, because they advertised it as having over 230,000 miles on it, and there was probably 1 or 2 other people who were aware of this reality. The high bid on it, which was my bid, was $1,510 at the end. Someone bid $1,501.99, and I decided to beat them ever so slightly, and I got a nice little car that can probably last a very long time. And I got something that is, you know, if they ever end up doing a show about, you know, life in the late 1990s with one of those sitcoms, this would pretty much be the best family wagon that could ever be devised for that purpose. It wasn't my pick down this era. It would never be my pick. It's boring to drive. It's aquatically ugly, but at the same time, it had its place and purpose. And if you like something that's nice and comfortable and no frills and nobody cares about what you drive, it's hard to go worse than a 23,000 mile Ford Taurus GL. It's not basic, but it's pretty close to it. Anyhow, that's my video for today. Hope you guys have a great day.